Hi everyone, welcome everybody back to my channel, and today we are talking about how to recognize if you're expressing or working from wounded feminine energy and how you can heal from that if you are. So stay tuned as we go through this today. My name is Rachel-Yvonne and I am the Biblical Femininity and Manifestation Expert, and I love to use the kingdom principles and godly values to show you how you can live your life as a feminine, wonderful, abundant, and glorious queen. So what is wounded feminine energy? It sounds a little bit weird actually, but all it is when you are showing up as your least authentic self, usually because of wounds and things and situations from the past that you haven't quite healed from. That's why they call it wounded feminine energy. And one of the ways that you can tell if you are operating in this are these following things. We know that women, we can be emotional, but are you overly emotional? Are you erratic and unable to control your emotions? This is a sign that you are in your wounded feminine energy. We have been blessed with an amazing array of emotions. God has really given us such a wide spectrum of emotions. But when you are wounded feminine, it means that you act from your emotions rather than from your heart, where you are overly emotional and overly unable to balance your emotions. Because when you're a mature feminine woman who acts in maturity and knows that she's a queen, you are able to manage your emotions and express high emotional intelligence. That's why, unlike many other people who believe that men don't have emotions, actually men are very emotional, but we are the ones who have emotional intelligence, who are able to manage and cultivate that and be the right receiving vehicle for their emotions. Do you find yourself that you're hustling or burning out? That is another sign of being in your wounded feminine energy, because we know that femininity is all about receiving and flow. You're unable to receive when you're constantly moving forward, constantly hustling and trying to make things happen. Why don't you try to rest, lean back, and know that you are abundantly loved by a great God who wants to see you live and manifest the life of your dreams? So when you're hustling and you're burning out and you're feeling like you're too tired, or maybe you can't sleep, you're over worrying and all those kind of things, you're actually mostly working out of your masculine energy, which is to be aggressive, which is to be competitive, which is to be a go-getter. And although those things are great in some instances, for example, I am the kind of person who is very much ambitious. Ambition is a masculine trait, but there's nothing wrong with being feminine and ambitious when you know how to balance. The issue is when we don't know how to balance, we end up over hustling, and then that can lead to burnout. And if you're in that season right now, I dare you to just take a look inside of yourself and say that I am abundant. Whatever I need is going to happen for me because I am a queen. When you live your life from that standpoint, it really does help you to not get into that hustle, but more into ease and flow. Now, here's one that a lot of men will definitely relate to, which is when we as women end up being complaining or nagging. Have you ever been guilty of that? I know I've been guilty of that in the past when I was not healed from certain things in the past and I was trying to make my man God in my life. But when you realize that people around you are as fallible as you are and that everyone around you is just an evidence of how you see yourself, you'll realize that there is no point in complaining or pushing or nagging when the only thing that I can control is myself. So when I learn in my healed feminine energy that I am the queen of my life, that I get to govern my path and I am divinely inspired, and that everybody in my life will either adapt or they will remove themselves, then you'll start to see that you'll get better results in your life. This works in every single part of your life, whether it's your health, whether it's your abundance in terms of your finances, whether it's your relationships, all of it will be affected by your complaining and your nagging. Most of the time when someone is complaining or nagging, it's because there is something in themselves that they need to work on. And that's why it is a trait of acting and being in your wounded feminine energy rather than rested, well-loved, protected, covered, and always provided for feminine queen self. You want to make sure that you're clear on this, because when you're unclear about who you are, that's when the complaints will start. That's when the nagging will begin, because you are trying to make other people do what you haven't done for yourself. So my queen, you need to remember that you are in charge of your own emotions. You're in charge of your thought processes. You're in charge of your personal growth. And so when you understand this, you'll be able to manage that, lean back, and start to stop complaining about what you're doing and see, where in my life can I make some changes, make some adjustments so I can be more of the woman I know I always was destined to be. If you are seeing yourself in any of these traits that I've mentioned, then I invite you to join me for some private coaching. I do have a variety of options in various price points, as well as my luxury coaching intensives, where in a whole day together, we will be able to break down some of these things and you will see immense transformation. If you're interested in any of those things, you'll see the information in the comment box below. Needing external validation is a sure sign that you are in your wounded feminine. Because when you are whole and you are healed, you know that the only validation you need is from God. And then furthermore, you know and understand that when God created you, he validated you. He put his seal of approval on you and inside of you with himself as the Holy Spirit. So when you know that he has already validated your experience, he has already decided that you are a queen, that you are his divine daughter, and that you carry his DNA, when you know that, it means that you do not require external validation. You're less concerned about who likes you, who doesn't like you, and you are just on your path and following your destiny. External validation can look like you always needing compliments, always needing approval, always needing people to say, you're amazing, you're doing this, you're doing a good job. And the thing is, I understand, like, I know it feels good. I know it feels good to get accolades. It feels good to get likes and comments and hearts on your videos, hearts on your pictures, and things like that. And as we share content in this world, it can become increasingly more and more like we do need and seek validation. But let me tell you a secret. The day that I allowed myself to be the validation that I need, and I realized that only God needs to validate me, was one of the greatest transformational experiences where I had immense breakthrough and quantum leaps in certain areas of my life just by getting the validation from myself alone. So you're going to see that in your life where you have allowed other people to tell you what to do, that's probably those areas where you haven't seen the results that you desire. Take a moment even now to look back over your life and see where have been the times where I have allowed other people's opinions of me to matter more than what God thinks about me and more than what I think about me. When you're in your wounded femininity, you will have a warped sense of who you are. You won't know who you are. You'll think you need to do certain things to fit in, and you won't realize your internal divine feminine power. But when you are healed, my dear, you will see the miraculous, you will see the supernatural, you will see the spontaneous, and you will walk in divine manifestations one after the other. Because you're less concerned about what's going on around you, because you know that when you control this world around you, it automatically controls what's outside of you. And at the same time, when you're not able to accept compliments, that also tells me that you're not comfortable with who you are, which is another essence or example of being in your wounded femininity. Because when you're a queen, you're beautiful, you're glorious, you're luxurious, you expect compliments and you know that they're coming. And even when they don't come, you don't even care, because you know that you are the bomb.com. You know you're that girl, and you know that you have lucky girl syndrome, handsome, you're blessed, you're highly favored. You know that you are the dream girl. When you know that, it doesn't matter what anybody else says, because you're able to come from that inner sense of being, knowing, as the Bible lets us know, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. That will enable you to show forth the glory of God in your life. And I'm using these analogies because I want you to see where throughout your life you are always destined for greatness. And it is the plan of the enemy, to be honest, for you to not know who you are. But I want to let you know today that you are an amazing, beautiful, and powerful woman. Now, if you're watching this video and you're saying that you see yourself a lot in the wounded femininity traits, don't worry. We've all been there. Because the way that the world is, there are many different things that happen in our experiences, whether it's our upbringing, whether it's school, whether it's family structures and dynamics, whether it's relationships, marriage, children, business, work, etc. All of these things and the way that the world is can sometimes chip away at your femininity. It can chip away at your feminine energy. But at the core of who you are, once you heal those wounds, you'll begin to see how when you show up as your most glorious, amazing self, you'll truly see the difference in your own life. And I can say honestly that when I worked on these things, I was able to see that my results were completely transformed. So don't be embarrassed. You know, the last thing I'll say around this is that sometimes shame will also be a sign of being in your wounded femininity. Shame about your past, about your upbringing, about how you look, all those things. Do not be ashamed of your experiences or the life you've had up till now, because it has made you the woman that you are right now. You wouldn't be who you are if it wasn't for those experiences. And I want you to know that God takes beauty from ashes. So you don't have to worry about any of those things, because you're able to use what you've learned and how you've healed and how amazing you are to become the most glorious woman you are now and in the future. So I hope you've enjoyed my video today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.